I gotta be real, everybody. This episode's a weird one. But then again, it's never boring around here. I'd bet some money nobody else on earth touched a gator, went sled riding, and got their heart broke all before January 3rd. Like, come on. What the heck are we doing? The crazy part is, it wasn't messy, it wasn't toxic, it wasn't disrespectful. Not even a little bit. She did everything right. Upfront, honest, direct. And somehow that didn't make it hurt any less. It just made it hurt cleaner. Which I'll take, honestly. Because there's nowhere to hide and you can't even be mad. And this isn't about, this isn't really about that. It's quite the opposite. If anything, this episode's kind of a salute to her for the way she did everything. Let's dive in.
Go deep.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to As Deep as It Gets. Dean here, and today's a solo, and I'm just gonna talk to y'all like I talk to myself when I'm trying to make sense of something. Also, a quick continuation. If you heard the last episode, you already know I was dealing with the tire and all that chaos. So I'm gonna start with the good here, all right, and then we'll get into what happened when I got back. So after that situation, we got the car handled, and the week finally started moving again. I made it home for Christmas, went and seen TB, went and seen Mason. The trip and everything was absolutely great to start. Harper Joe made me this awesome picture. I hope I can get it in focus. Oh, awesome picture. Which I'm very proud. I'm gonna get it framed. And so that was great. I got to spend Christmas Eve with Mom and Graham, and then Christmas with the fam. And after that, we looked at the drive ahead to Florida we had, and we said, all right, we're going to do this through the night. And that's exactly what we did. I drove 17 hours and 15, which is insane. Don't do what I did. We stopped at CookOut, then Buc-ee's, and I'm not even going to lie, that place is like the Disney World of gas stations. I was impressed. When I seen it was on the way, I couldn't help but stop. I was very excited. And real quick, if anybody knows anybody that needs a car transported to or from Florida and they don't want to drive it and they would rather fly, hit me up. I'll do the mission. I made it to the beach, had an awesome time with Nick, John Michael, played some basketball, and the whole Schuts crew. Just unbelievably hospitable people. I could do a whole episode on how good that family treated me, and we had a New Year's Eve barbecue, good laughs, and yeah, the Buckeyes let us down, which was painful, but the weather was great. We hit the links, I played some golf, and yes, I touched a gator. I sure did. Roll the tape.
He's awake.
I'm not touching his tail, Nick.
I don't like this. He's gonna snap at you.
Dude, I'm quick. I'm not that quick. Yeah, and so we had a good time. Good time there. It was Then I went sled riding with Colby's kids. Met a really interesting guy in the hotel bar. Couple sunsets in Florida. The whole trip was, fantastic, honestly. And it was great. I can't complain about my trip. I It was everything that I needed and everything that I wanted, and I met a bunch of cool folks, and it felt like, man, this is real life and what I've been missing. And the first day back home, Colby picks me up and we go sled riding with him and his girls, and it was one of those moments where you're like, oh yeah, this is why I'm doing all this again. So, on the relationship side, I've been seeing this woman the past couple months, and I'm not going to over explain anything, but yeah, there was about a 10 year age gap. Not too crazy, just a dynamic I've never really been in or explored before. And I will say this, the connection was real, the talks were real, the chemistry was extremely real, and honestly, I was sort of proud of myself that I could even attract a woman of her caliber, honestly. And not just the looks, she had all that, sure, but she was sharp, a little edgy, cool, had some depth, and we had some awesome talks and some awesome times. And if you know me, I caught feelings a little sooner than I should have, of course. And pretty early on, I realized her world was a little more complicated than mine. Past stuff, old wounds, closure type things, and listen, we weren't official, um, but if I'm talking to you, I'm talking to you. I can barely handle two tasks at once, let alone two women. I tried that once and it did not end well. And I know somebody out there is laughing right now. So while while we seen each other through the holidays, and then right before the holidays took a break, and we sort of took some vacations. And I guess while I was on my vacation, one of her exes reached out, and I'm not even mad for her taking the call, and I'm not even trying to shame her. I get closure, I get needing answers, and I get being in a season where you're just trying to keep your head above water. And then we had a night and a heart to heart on Thanksgiving Eve. We had one of the realest and most deep talks I've had with anybody in a minute, and that was me spilling my heart probably quicker than I should have. And I told her I wanted to be there for her, even through the messy parts. And above all, I wanted her happy. And I wanted her safe. And that's something I still stand on. I said if that dude who, she was really heartbroken by, that made her question herself in the first place, and I said if he ever showed back up and, she needed closure, she could go get it. Because one, clearly she's not over it and I wanted her healed. And two, I'm not interested in being anybody's second choice anyway. So I had to learn that the hard way the last couple of years. So when I say I wasn't mad about the closure and the fact that she wanted it, I mean it. You know? Um, but then when I get back to the valley, I get a text explaining the distance and what was going on. Of course, it was right when I pulled in the valley. There's something about those damning hills, that just sort of creeps up over you in the valley there. But it was essentially, she told me about the exes reaching out and was like, Dean, I don't think I'm ready to give myself to anyone. And it was clean, it was honest, and it was direct. And I respected it immediately because she made me know that she wasn't trying to hurt me for once. If anything, it takes courage to end something before you do the damage. But here's the part that nobody tells you. Just because it was mature doesn't mean your body doesn't react like you lost something. A clean breakup can still break you a little. Hell, I almost set her up for the exit. I gave her the clean out and told her, go ahead, I understood. Sure, that was me protecting myself because I'm used to getting clipped. But still, it's funny. You can brace for the fall, but the landing still hurts like a bitch. Here's what hit my ego and my heart. It wasn't just losing her. It was that feeling of, damn, just like that, back to lonely. Looking around, no one to text, no one to... And it's like, I know I'll get over that. I don't really... I hate even having that sentence in me because... Oh, sorry. Because before this, I was getting real... See, it hates it too. Because before this, I was getting, real comfortable being my own best friend. And I'll get back there. I know I will. But it's like, you can be doing everything right, showing up just how you feel like you should be, being consistent, and then all of a sudden, someone from their past shows up, and then you're competing with a memory. And listen, logically, guys, I'm not... This episode isn't like I got my heart torn out and stomped on. That's not what I'm saying. I know I'll be okay. I lost a lot more than her this year. I lost my best friend. Last year I lost Elizabeth after 3 years together. Obviously this, little winter fling isn't comparing to either of those. But here's what surprised me about it all. And that's sort of what I'm trying to say is I thought that since I've been through the hard, that dealing with something like this would be easy. And that's where I was really wrong. Hard things still suck even after you survive harder things. You just get a little more armor. And, I still found myself asking myself the same old, self-hurting questions that I've been asking myself every time someone sort of exits my life. And it's not, like I said, she is fine. Like, she didn't exit my life in that way. It just... I always just wonder, what is it about me that I'm so easy to walk away from? And why do I always have the tendency to love harder than I get loved? And sometimes I wonder if I'm just too much or if I'm just with people or attract people who can't quite handle my depth. And that's where I felt like this is where I think I was a little bit hurt by this because I sort of felt like she could handle my depth. She was pretty deep and thoughtful herself when it came to just intellectually, and that's where I was impressed. And either way, I'm never gonna stop being me. So that's just the truth of it. I wouldn't know how else to operate. I'm not going to censor myself for anyone. I'm over. There's nothing you can do anymore. I've moved past that. censoring myself for other people, not saying what I want to say, holding back, anything. Like I said, we can always have a conversation about it. I'll always, if you want to talk about it, we can. I love talking about stuff. Anything. I'm right. Come have a seat. We'll talk all night. But I don't hold anything back anymore, and I'm not throwing any punches towards her. She did everything exactly how I asked her to, and I replied to her with as much dignity as I possibly could, and I didn't beg. I didn't explode or get upset. I didn't do the "you'll regret this." I just told the truth, and I told her that I respected her honesty, that I was hurt. I got attached in ways I didn't think I would, and I really thought and hoped that we'd keep choosing each other, and that I did want to be friends too, but I wasn't quite sure what that even looked like with us. And because let's be friends sounds mature and it's great. But sometimes at first it feels like a slow bleed and like it can be like a compress. So like I mean I just took the time to really feel it because I cared about her, and like I said, and I still care about her. Her response was genuinely sweet. He said, "We'll still play Fortnite, and if you're around, you can grab lunch or something." But and reading it, it all made me smile. Because it told me what I already knew. She was never out to play me, and she cared. And I sat with it, and I realized that we had a great season, and some things end when they're supposed to, and it's best not to question God's timing, because that's who's honestly in charge. These things don't happen for a reason. I definitely feel like I was meant to meet her, and I hope that she feels the same with me. And I know I kind of went quiet these past 2 weeks, and I'm sorry for that. That's on me, honestly. But I've been real life in a bunch. That's what this whole thing has been about. Me trying to pursue and me trying to experience life a little bit more. And that trip honestly recentered me. It was good for me, and it reminded me why I'm doing this podcast, uh, and why But life is crazy in that week. 1 week I'm at the beach laughing, touching alligators, sled riding with Colby and his girls, seeing all my best friends back home, and feeling like I'm all the way back since the whole tire incident on the last pod. And then the second I pull back into the valley, it's like, hey, all right, now you got to deal with your heart. You're not in Florida anymore, and that whiplash will like throw you off course more than like people like I guess tend to talk about. Like I try to keep going when something bad happens. I always try. If you know me, I try to always I try my best to take anything negative that happens in my life or in general and somehow turn it into a positive, because that's my defense mechanism, I guess, is when bad things happen, I try to look at them in a good or positive light, because honestly, I don't know what else to do. I don't know how else you handle your problems. What do you guys do? That's what I do. I have to try to make light of situations, because if I focus on the negative, I bury myself in it. And when I bury myself in it, I'll bury myself too deep to where I can't get out. So I always have to try and focus on the positive of the situation. And like I said, that whiplash can throw you off course. And sometimes you don't come back from it. Um, so if you felt that, if you've had the world, 1 second it's fine, and then the next second it's flipped upside down, you're not crazy. That's just Away she goes sometimes. Away she goes. That was for Pruny, by the way. Dating right now is weird. Because everybody's trying to be healthy in their relationship. Nobody wants to be accountable for like what that closeness does to people. That's what this whole situationship culture is. I'm healing, I'm protecting my peace, I'm not ready, I don't want labels. And a lot of that's real. Situationships are basically relationship behavior with no relationship protection. It's intimacy without commitment, closeness without clarity. And that split messes up my nervous system. So, you know, hanging out on Saturday, strangers next Friday. She did the right thing by being honest with me, and I appreciate her so much for that. And I'm allowed to hurt a little bit anyway. Both are true. And if she's out there listening, you handled this right. You didn't play me, you didn't drag it out, you didn't lie. This is your episode, truly. And I'm grateful for our chapter. And I know you've been carrying things. And I know it hasn't been an easy season. And I genuinely want you to be happy more than anything else. And to everybody listening, feeling something doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're real. If any of this hit you, send it to one person you love. Or one person you're trying not to text. Love y'all. We'll see you Wednesday.